Well, well, well.
You can never tell. Well.
Sam, how you been, man? It's been a while, huh?
Yeah. It's been good.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. I haven't had any need for content, so I haven't been making it.
Listen, everybody has their own. Take it from me. I've been doing this YouTube thing for a long while.
Long time.
And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that, everybody has their own different way of doing these things, Some people post like 9,000 times a day.
Yeah.
And then there are other people that have lives. And it's just one of those things. So
Why do you make YouTube videos every 2 hours? Should you stop?
like, should Sam St. John quit YouTube?
And other
Yeah.
people I hate.
Yeah. We're killing it right now, though. We got 0 people watching.
Well, people are finishing Jeopardy, so they'll hop on here in a
That's
minute.
fair. This is also not a hot time, for streaming, I guess.
No,
so to speak.
And they figure they're going to see our ugly faces tomorrow night.
Oh, and then we got the Wax streaming. He's doing Tuesday Jazz Talk. We're not going to be able to compete with that. We could do like Tuesday. We got Mean Mr. Mayo's also streaming right now.
Steven Schnee is streaming. Well, he will in like an hour.
So we picked a good time slot, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but we still have some our bummy friends should still be out there in the. Hey, speaking of.
God, it says 0 people are watching, but here's. Jason, what do you do? Come on up, man.
He's got a. Who really needs to work when society is crumbling around us anyway?
Yeah. Jason, you sent that most recent message to us, and you were in such a. It sounded like you were in such a panic. You're like, I gotta hurry, boys, because you're about to be on, and it's like, it's not that deep,
But
okay, but no. So I was gonna ask. Now that you have your gift, though, I listened. I don't have it yet. I'm gonna wait until August or September when they're here. But how do you feel about the new Ava Brothers album? I listened to it the first time today. Mm-hmm. Want your professional thoughts and opinions?
Yeah, so my best friend Chris and I have talked about it kind of through text before. He listened to it for the first time 2 days ago and then spun it again this morning.
Yeah.
And actually, everybody's friend Brian from Shamrock and Records, he's a big Avett fan, and we've been messaging a little bit on Instagram. His original thought was he didn't like it at all. Like, he was very disappointed. But then he listened to it the next morning and said that it was immediately growing on him. I listened to the single. I listened to 2 out of the singles because there's only 9 tracks on the record.
Yeah.
So like when they I think the last single was like The Night Before, Orion. It was called Orion's Belt. I was like, I don't want to listen to a third of the record before it comes out. So I'm like, I can't listen to a third track. I really am. I'm liking it. I've listened to it twice all the way through. I think it's a very adult record for them. And they've kind of talked about that. Some of those songs have been percolating since 2019.
Yeah.
Which obviously that was the last time that they had a full length album. Though they had their third Gleam record in 2021. So maybe it's only been 3 years since Avett material. And then Seth had a solo record in 2022. So we've had Avett Brothers.
Yeah.
And the aura of things. But I think it's cool. It is mellow. Like, I think there's only like three out of the tracks are pretty Avett like, and then the other 6 are all ballads. So I don't know. Like, have you gave it a spin? What are you?
Which is interesting. An interesting choice for them to. Their first single that they released from it sounds nothing like anything else on the record.
Mm-hmm.
But and you and I have talked about this before. I prefer like the Gleam-ish type stuff. Like, I love the folky singer-songwritery harmonies type stuff. I don't care as much for their version of more like rocked up or like punked up type stuff. So, um, so a lot of that stuff I liked. I would have to listen again. I mean, I was in the office, so it was sort of at like low volume. I wasn't like full like in the listening space of it, but yeah. Oh, hey there, Vinyl Doggy. Ref.
Do we know Vinyl Doggy?
No idea who the Vinyl Doggy is, but we're glad you're here.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I like the Gleam too. And then another buddy of mine who I'm actually seeing a concert with on Friday. He's a big fan of the 3 Gleam EPs, and
Yeah.
I am too. I love those. And I some of that like that early Avett stuff too when they were kind of like screamy and like very very raw with things. I'm like it doesn't really work because I know that their talent is in their songwriting.
Right.
Because I mean, Scott Avett is not, a top tier banjo player. Seth is not a top tier guitar player.
Sure.
It's the songwriting and the harmonies, the brotherly harmonies, which again are all over that record. It's Rick Rubin. It's a very Rick Rubin-y album. It's a very modern Avett record because that's kind of like the style that people are going with. Even like in pop music now, everybody's kind of going like that low volume kind of style. Like whether it's even like Taylor Swift on her latest, I mean that's kind of what she's gone for the last 2 or 3 records, and even Billie Eilish, like the people that are in the top 40, the contemporary artists, that's what people are listening to right now for whatever reason, and so this is the Avett's kind of version of that.
Yep.
So,
no, again I'll have to give it a listen, and I'll say too, they're here again in August or September, and I plan on going. So I'll see if they have any sort of like special like vinyl there, or if it's just the normal stuff or whatever. So, but if I was gonna get one, it would probably be that like indie store exclusive or whatever.
And the packaging is great. It really is.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
That little notebook is great with the sketches in it. And
see, that's the type of stuff that to me like justifies like the $35 price tag, right? Like,
yeah.
You can tell like a work went into the design, all that type of stuff.
Which again, like I've talked about that too. You get all of these things, especially like record store day stuff, where it's like $40 and there's no gatefold.
Oh yeah,
it's a paper enter. So yeah,
so stupid. It's dumb. So stupid. Doggy, no, not necessarily. I just whatever the night is or day that the stream is happening, try to tie in like a song reference. So Tuesday Heartbreak is a Stevie Wonder song. So it's gonna be like this or like Tuesday's Gone or something like that. So but
some goodbye Ruby Tuesday.
Yeah, that would have been good too. That's good. FBA, what's up, man? Good to see you. It's been a while. I was just talking to it's been a while since I've done the streaming thing ever since the incident. So it's been a lot to try to recover from, but we're back. We're healthy. Everything is good. So
hey, Jack.
What's happening?
We got ourselves a little crowd here.
Oh, crowd here.
Oh.
Music Talk with Jean
Baptiste.
Jean, yes. Actually, it's a little early for this. I don't have to go to the bathroom. I have to run to my bathroom to fix my contact. I'm like freaking out here. So entertain the crowd, Sam. Pick up your guitar and start fucking around or something.
It's been a while. Yeah. We just were talking earlier. We haven't done an informal stream in a minute. Obviously, we're going to be on tomorrow on Rob's channel. But yeah, we just said, let's go in, no topic, and essentially collapse into nothing here. Well, John, I do believe it. I'm proud of you for liking it. I have a few records here that I haven't listened to yet. I just got what is this? I mean, and obviously I'll get into my May finds here in a bit, but I'll just pick this one up. Well, I pre-ordered it a long time ago, back in early March, and it finally came in yesterday. I don't know hardly anything about it. This is called Seconds of Pleasure. It's the Rock Pile record. The hype sticker says it was the Rolling Stone review said pretty close to perfect. So
Not quite, but close.
not yeah.
Yeah.
It's from 1980. So obviously it's Nick Lowe and Dave Edmunds. The song "When I Write the Book" was the big thing on here. But Yep Rock Records always puts out Nick Lowe stuff. A lot of times they include like a little 45 with it or something extra. And it's always like $23-24 for a really good quality record. So I haven't spun it yet. I've kind of been like in a funk with music. I haven't really been listening to it much. So I did listen to some today, but it's been a really slow May with music for me. So
I picked up the new Kate Hudson record. Interesting. I didn't know that she was making music. She'll always be Penny Lane for me.
I don't know anything about her.
Okay. Well, she was Penny Lane in Almost Famous.
Dave Matthews, Charlottesville boy.
Yeah, Charlottesville by way of South Africa, you know.
Yeah, to quote.
That's why he has his accent that he does that doesn't make any sense. But
Jean Baptiste. Yeah.
Is that it? Hey Emma, how's it going?
That was my Dave Matthews doing "The Maker" by Daniel Lanois.
That's pretty good.
How are them eyeballs there, boy?
Dude, they're struggling a bit. I don't know why. Maybe it's like the Zoom light was just blinding me or something, but I was like tweaking a little bit.
Well, what can you do? You know.
Well, you can tweak hard. You can't tweak often.
What was your brew tonight? Are you having Peebers?
Yeah, just drinking a little PBR. You know, you said you wanted to stream tonight, so I had to stop at the store and buy. It's the things I do for the people, you know. Well, because I'm trying to. This is going to sound crazy. I'm trying to cut down my drinking, Sam. Which is interesting that we're not drinking on a Tuesday night, but
we'll see each other tomorrow. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I've had a few tonight. Like this is number 3.
Yeah, those are some tall boys there, huh?
Yeah, like I said, it's the Luke Combs variety. So
that's right. Beer never broke the heart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also full of chicken tenders and crinkle cut fries. So
nothing wrong with that.
Man. Dang, John.
I know. Just call me out. I am pretty bad with changing. Well, I'm good with like most of the time with like taking them out and stuff like that. But like my contacts that are supposed to last like say a year, like I've had them forever. So I'm pretty bad with that. But thanks, John. John, if you want to join us or anything up here, man, come hang out and shoot the proverbial shit. Let me know, man. Let me know.
Yeah, I know we've been talking about it in our little chat offline, but I wonder with the Peanut Gallery if they care at all about the Black Keys and their big announcement.
Their big announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we were talking about it. You know, I haven't been to a ton. It seems like every arena show that I've been to in the past year and a half, I mean, really since like COVID, has been no more than 70% full. And I think, and people were talking about this too, of like, you know, arena shows for 20,000 people when, you know, tickets are $20-$30, cool. But like, you know, these tickets are over $100. And so you got to think to yourself, like, am I going to spend $100 to sit in the upper deck to watch the Black Keys? Like, I mean, people would pay that to watch Bruce Springsteen, but that's a lot to watch, you know, Red Auerbach or whatever his name is, you know. That's a good reference, Sam, by the way. I don't know if you know who Red Auerbach is, but
I don't.
Yeah. He's like a famous Celtics coach from yesteryear. Is like known as one of the greatest basketball coaches. But yeah.
No, speaking of, pour one out for Bill Walton.
Oh man, I loved Bill Walton, man. I loved Bill.
I didn't know he was sick.
Yeah, no, I don't think he talked about that at all. And I think he was still like doing announcing and stuff like that up until the end. So
I said John Boy, you know.
Well, you know, but But here's the thing, FBA. You're a traveler of the world, so you've been around the block a few times. I mean, you are like a cultural enigma, as it were. Um, and so you not knowing about Pabst is interesting. It's pretty bad. Like it's not worth getting. I mean, like I sense this fear. There's actually a lot of people I think like in the UK who are like, I don't know what PBR is. What's PBR? Like it's just trash. Like there's nothing good about this. Um, so I totally get that. But June versus hey, it's coming. I'm gonna feel real bad if you don't win. I mean, you've been knocking at the door for this record, and just by luck of the draw, it's probably gonna go to someone who's not even gonna appreciate it. And it's just a bummer. Someone like Sam, probably.
Yeah, so I haven't even commented.
So that's like, yeah, or Steve will leave a comment that says, "I'm leaving a comment, but if I win, just give it to Sam," sort of thing. So
did he say that for this one?
Probably, I don't know.
Even if he didn't, just send it to me.
No, I think he did that for the one with Terry with the Plaid Room gift card.
Okay.
So
did you do any? Did you go out and about yesterday for Memorial Day? Did you have some wieners and hot dogs?
No, not really. No, I did go out a little bit though. There was I think I was telling you there was one of my local places every Memorial Day they do like a mini fair sort of situation. So they had like 6 or 7 vendors.
Yeah,
kind of cool. So it was just in their parking lot, and actually it was funny. The weather, if it's not raining, it was like 30-mile-an-hour winds because they all had like these tents and like they were like trying to hold down the tents. So, yeah, it was a good time. But I picked up a couple of really cool things that I'm excited about. So there's that. I hope it goes. I do hope it goes to you. I will say, hello there, WWVIB.
We got some newbies.
I guess so.
To me. Yeah, I'm hoping here in the next few days that I will actually have a background behind me on this wall.
What you going with?
Well, I just recently picked up some posters that I had professionally framed.
Nice.
They were a double down like birthday / Christmas gift, and I am waiting to get the hooks for them. So it's got some big boys, got some little boys, got some large and small posters too, and am looking to hang them behind me.
Are you okay, sir?
So stay tuned for non-plain walls, and hopefully that means I don't have to sit on my floor anymore.
Yeah, well, it's funny. This is just what the bachelor life might be for 230 somethings. My walls are really plain too. That's why I keep the blinds open. But recently I've have sort of amassed a handful of these like tour posters or different cool promotional posters or stuff like that needs framed. So I'm like, I need a frame or whatever. And then and then people start yelling things like command strips. And I was like, not since I was in college, So it was like, yeah, that's kind of a lot. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can unpack that, John. What do you think about that, Sam?
Yeah, you're old. No, I mean my parents, their 32nd their anniversary is the day before my birthday. So yeah, it's pretty easy to keep up with how long they've been married. But yeah, I mean 29 years, John. That's a haul. That was what I don't know what happened in 1995. Anything worthwhile in the music world?
86-cent gas. That's what's going on.
Oh yeah. Screw you, Biden. Yeah, no,
sir.
But no, I mean, yeah, John. Congrats and all that stuff. Many more years, and should old acquaintance be forgot?
Yes, sir. All right. Well, all things hard for us there. Yeah.
I not to steal your thund, sir, but I'm there's a rumor that you had quite the haul today with some goodies.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna do a video, but since there's only 7 people out there, watch. I might have to, save it for the big one. Yeah, well, one of my locals, they huge place, almost too big. Like they have too much stuff. That's just the reality of it. They order so much stuff, order so much RSD stuff. Like it's wild, right? Like
yeah,
they're the type of person when like the mom and pop owner and central Missouri is like, we only got 1 or 2 of those big allocation. This place out here is like, yeah, we got 43 of them. So they get us a ton of stuff, but they also, just a ton of new stuff, a ton of used stuff. They have too much stuff where people like me, thank you. People like me, I like to go digging. You know what I mean? I like those like $3 to $5 scratch and dent type things, and filling holes and buying records that it previously didn't have. That whole thing. So, it was just. It was like, but still, may all acquaintance be forgotten. Is what he's saying.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's kind of like a love-hate sort of thing, because I want to go and dig through all their like stuff, but it's so jam-packed in there. They have crates on top of boxes on top of, it's just a mess. So anyways, they posted on social media that was like, we have too much stuff. Here's a bunch of old RSD stuff that's been sitting around. It's it's all been marked down to $5. So I was like, great. Now, granted, like it's no, you're not going to find like, Bill Evans or Gandalf or something in there. But
what about their records?
Dude, shut the fuck up. You got some of the dumbest ass jokes. But God damn. I swear, I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, this whole group chat with me, you, and Jason, as much as I love it, I was like, I'm so tired of the same 3 damn jokes. That whole chat's the same 3 damn jokes. And Jason, now that you're back, 3 jokes. It's hardly newer. Love that. It's ooh, I can't wait for dinner. Oh yeah, and then whatever you're gonna have for the meal. It's like like it's ongoing, and I just can't do it anymore. So when I'm sitting there, you saying that Bill Evans and Gandalf are living in a fucking record box, I get a little upset. I'm sorry. I get a little upset.
We'll just block each other.
Yes. Yes. Dan, I have the I guess all whatever the 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
I have the one, like I have the comp, and then I have Ghost in the Machine. I think is the 2 that I have. Now,
for a second, I was really on the search to find all 4 color variants of the debut.
Oh yeah.
I think I have green, yellow. I think I just might be missing the blue one. But
I have the red.
I really searched it out. So there's that. But anyway, so I go there and everything was $5. And for me, it's like some of the stuff, there was nothing absurd that I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is still there.
Yeah.
But also, there's a lot of shit that was like $35, $40. That's $5. And a lot of the stuff I had seen like other people post about and all those different things. Actually, I want to show you a record, sir.
Well, don't show it too close,
I'll show you a record.
That wax.
Yeah, that's good.
How many years back did some of this stuff go, for one?
Oh, no more than probably like 2. Yeah, it wasn't like, yeah. But like, this was a crazy one. What's crazy is like, this was something that these used to be hot titles, not so much anymore. They had probably 15 to 20 of these things still chilling.
Yeah.
And that was a Jazz Dispensary title. You know what I mean? Like these used to, these were hot all the time. And again, it was 25, and then down to 18, and then down to 5. And I already have this, but I'm like, this will make a good gift or something. None of these are to flip. It's either, I'm going to listen to some stuff. A lot of them are blind, like buys. The one I was going to show you is this one. This looks fascinating. It's called Splinter.
Okay.
So
Dark Horse.
Yes, this is Splinter, The Place I Love, 1973. I guess they were like one of the first artists that was signed to Dark Horse. It was produced by George, and kind of has so the people are Bill Elliott and Bobby Purvis.
Okay.
But I mean, so those are the two. I mean, I'm guessing they're just singer-songwriter people, right? Like I'm guessing this is going to be just good duo singer-songwriter shit.
Yeah.
But it's wild, like the lineup on here, right? You got Klaus Foreman playing bass on everything. You got Billy Preston everywhere. You got Gary Wright on piano. You got Mel Collins doing horn arrangement stuff, like Jim Keltner playing, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna yeet myself out of
What about Goucher?
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah.
No, that's so. Does George play on that at all, or does Ringo? Are they on there?
I don't think that either of them are on here. No, I was looking for just like a random like slide guitar. Doesn't look like it. No.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet though. So what year is it saying?
This is 73 and
right.
was reissued sometime on Black Friday. I don't even remember seeing this. So yeah.
I think I might remember seeing some of the Beatle people showing it because of the label.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have George on the production, but I don't know anything about it. I mean, I don't follow the solo Beatles hardly at all. So
yeah, I know how you feel about the solo Beatles. Hey, Mike. Yeah, man, sending you condolences, man. I'll say this too. I mean, I was a big sports guy for a while. Bill Walton as an athlete, sure, but like I grew up as him as a commentator. And he was just so fun. I mean, he was such a like breath of fresh, funny air in like, announcing that when it was so just bland and there was nothing going on. And he was just so good. So, yeah, for sure. We miss him. And I think, again, like, I think he kept his illness fairly secret. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Oh wow, thank you. I sound awesome. Thank you. Okay. Leonard Harley Nauer. Yes, I do have a Fish Out of Water. Great record. Good ass record for sure. A good record. So and then it was like it was a bunch of comps of shit that I'm into. So a lot of like a lot of like classic funk, soul, like type stuff that I've been kind of getting into recently. That's just wasn't on the radar forever ago. So like, let me see. This is cool. And again, like some of the stuff, I mean, this is another Craft recordings, right? Like a lot of the stuff was Craft. So this is Written in Their Soul, the hits. This is the Stax songwriter demos.
Don't they have? There's a new Stax documentary on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah. I would like to watch that. So this is cool. Again, $5.
And it's Craft. Yeah, it's good quality.
Exactly. This is a personal favorite of mine that I'm sure you will also appreciate, and that is, of course, read that for us.
Funky Chicken.
Bok, if you know what I mean. So. I mean, it's the Funky Chicken, man. Willie Henderson and the Soul Explosions. It's like this type of shit. Like what? Okay,
that's awesome.
Some other like doubles. Like this was like a $34 record. This is a double, the legendary 1967 piano jazz album from Bobby Cole. I don't know, but shit,
that was $5 for a double.
$5. Yeah, there's a couple of doubles in here.
Good gracious! And how many of those were one-off copies, or did most of them have duplicates?
I I haven't even like logged these in yet. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know like what
No, I mean like at the store. Like were they like the only copies of that record at the store?
No, most of these there were multiples.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I thought about being that guy who just grabs and grabs, but
Up.
I just don't really care. Now let's see what else we have here. This is kind of cool. Yeah, this is another double. $40. The best of Chai Sound Records, which is the sound of Chicago soul. So I mean, it's a ton of soul stuff. I don't know, like I mean, it's so much of the stuff that I am still so relatively unfamiliar with.
Was that a regional release because it's Chicago? Like I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like this place gets so much. Like I think a lot of these were probably regional, or like there's some stuff that like Europe gets most of, and then the US gets like a handful.
Yeah,
of, right? Like I think there's some of the stuff too. So yeah, let's see. Mike, I think I was the original PBR drinker in the vinyl community. Yeah. Well, I mean, you might have been, Mike, for sure. I mean, the funny thing is actually I'm fairly new to the PBR game in the grand scheme of things. Because when I first started the channel, Sam referenced this a couple times. The whole idea of the channel in the beginning was to kind of do like unofficial pairings, right? Like I wanted to pair like a really nice, cool craft beer with a certain record, right? Like that was sort of the idea in the beginning. And then I realized I can't afford both of those hobbies. So there's that. Appreciate you, Vinyl Doggy. Thank you for being
here.
Did
you see the Matthew Street had a $10 PBR hat he found at Walmart?
Yeah, I saw that short. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, Coal Mine always be cranking stuff out. No Coal Mine record stuff here. I mean, usually the only RSD stuff they do is their Soul Slabs, which we haven't had in a couple of years, but we'll get one next year, I think. Okay. Yeah, Daptone, they're another one of those sort of Coal Mine extended families, right? Because isn't I can't think of it right now, but I would probably I feel like I've heard that name before, but yeah, I'll check that out for sure.
I've heard of. I mean, I know Dual Tone. I don't know Daptone.
Yeah. Actually, you know what though? Knowing Colton could probably use some PBR. That dude, he need to calm down.
Well, Mike, I don't think a comment. I just watched one of your more recent videos. I think it was your response to Chris Profi, but you just leaned over your chair and snagged Colton in the back of the chair, showing the world your.
It was getting into something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cats are. Actually, I love cats. I really do.
Do you love Alex does. I'm a cat guy.
Yeah. What is the speaking of Alex, when do you plan to make a trip down here, boy?
I've been there twice, sir. How many times you come up here? All right.
I've never stepped foot in the land of Kent State.
That's a weird reference, but I guess knowing your musical history, that would make sense.
And soldiers and Nixon coming.
I mean, shit. All right. This is not a political statement what I'm about to make. It's a social observation.
You choose not to run. No.
But it's not lost on me. I mean, I work in higher education, so these are things that I'm surrounded by all the time. That's on a lot of campuses across the country, the National Guard was present and things were happening. And there's a strong part of me that's interesting that in a lot of ways, like take like the protests aside, like all those different things, right? Like just talking about just the optics of National Guard on a lot of campuses, that luckily it happened when it did, when it was the end of the semester, right? Like, if this would have happened in like the middle of October, when it's like, yeah, we got 2 months left, good luck. But it happened basically when everybody was taking finals anyway, and then it all just sort of like, we're not hearing about it anymore, right? But
yeah.
So yes, there's your Kent State, or as the people here like to make the joke, can't read, can't write, Kent State. It's a really good joke.
It's good. It's as good as the ones that you said we shouldn't make anymore.
Yeah. So it's that's true. Jason, I see you have enough time for fun and games in the comments, but not enough time to come and join your brethren. But I disappointed but not surprised, I think would probably be the phrase that comes to mind, right, for you too, Sam?
Indeed. Yeah, Jason acts like he's always busy, but alas, he just sits up there and listens to his blues records in his cabin compound.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, well, look, and we know the last thing we need you to do is log into a live stream while doing dishes. I mean, you were harassed out of here last time. That was a long time ago. So I get, what would be halfway? What, like Charleston, maybe West Virginia? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, we talked about it. And which I've been in Charleston once. I was like in 5th grade. I was there for a couple nights.
It's not the greatest.
I don't remember. I was in the convention hall for the time I was there. So
yeah. Here's a good one that you'll really appreciate, Sam. Here's what's funny. This is one of the things that you'd be like, I would not care, but I appreciate and love that for you, Alex.
Of course, every record you show, I think that.
Thank you. This is the Norman Haynes Band, which the name of that band, I mean, when you hear the Norman Haynes Band, what kind of band would you think of?
Norman Haynes?
Norman Haynes Band.
Some sort of like polka group.
Okay, that's good. Well, I think of like throw them in like, Climax Blues Band or like, Southern Boogie,
yeah,
kind of thing. Well, the Norman Haynes Band apparently is like this long lost like British prog band. And this is Den of Iniquity.
What does that cover?
That's I mean,
what do we have there?
Again, no recollection of this coming out at all.
No.
This came out on Magic Box.
That has to be regional or
for sure. I would, but, the great hype sticker here. UK prog rock classic, originally issued in 1971. Original copies have sold for £2,500. Insert with notes, includes CD, blah blah blah. So, okay, John, let me just get, hello, Sam. So, this is, I mean, that's pretty, this reminds me of something that like Dylan or, Ancient Greece or something. Or,
yeah.
Right? So, I mean, this to me, this is my shit, right? Like, this is the type of stuff, but it's so funny to me. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'll take for $5.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Let's see. Oh, I'm still up here. Let's see.
If you're showing records, keep yourself big there, boy.
Okay, now there, boy. I need someone in the gallery to help me with this one. I was talking about this a little bit earlier. I have heard this name, All Them Witches, a billion times. I have no idea who they are. I have no idea what kind of music it is. So if you're out there and All Them Witches, let me know. Sam doing a quick Google search over there.
I'm doing a Google search.
Yeah, I know they're like a hard rock band from Nashville. I know that much, but like I'm.
Well, excuse me.
Well, okay. So I don't know.
They were on New West for a bit. I like New West.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They say elements from hard rock, stoner, psychedelia, neo-psych, blues folk.
Yeah. These jokes write themselves, don't they, John?
John, why don't you get up here and say them things to us?
Yeah, John, say it to my face, would you?
I don't know anything about these chumps. It looks like 3 out of the 4 are still original members of the guys. 6 records, 3 lives, few EPs. Blah blah blah.
Here's some more kind of classic. Oh, this is off Real Gone.
I like me some RG.
Chuck Armstrong, Shacking Up. Okay, this is actually this is so freaking good, by the way. I'll show you this. This is I was a lot of these. It was kind of a madhouse in there, so I was like a lot of these things I was unfamiliar with, and I was just reading hype stickers, right? So like for people who say it don't matter, it does matter, right? And this is
Yeah.
an easy one. It just says super rare mid-70s Southern soul funk.
Okay.
So I mean, you can just tell, just shacking up, man, by Chuck Armstrong. But here's the best part, Sam, is this is on barbecue sauce red vinyl is the color variant there. But
Have you slit the thing open?
no, I haven't opened any of these.
I say you look it up, to quote Paul Stanley.
I'd prefer not to ever quote Paul Stanley ever.
Dang.
I know. And I know you love Paul Stanley. This was a fun one. Joni Mitchell, Court and Spark demos. Actually surprised this was still there too,
What kind of demos?
So demos from Court and Spark. Yeah.
The Court and Spark of High Heel Boys.
That's a good joke. I appreciate it there.
Thank you. See, I know more than just banjos.
Yeah.
Why is my apartment so dark?
Yeah, you're looking. Yeah, you're looking a little. Not looking good.
Let me.
Yes, it is.
Jason,
right, go open your blinds or something.
The blinds are open. It's darn sunset.
Can you give me a beer while you're up?
Well, see, you know my apartment here. My string lights I had to take down the other day. They were going out. They still ain't great, but
so this is where I'm stuck here. Buoy boy, I never know what to call you.
Those aren't buoys.
Is that I am on the prowl to have every coal mine Karma Chief release. Which going backwards is not that hard, right? But so every time a new one gets released, but I've not committed to getting all of their exclusives from a different label, even if it's like a sister label, right? So like all the Dead Ocean stuff or Daptones or whatever we were talking earlier, like that type of stuff. So that's the new Aaron Frazier. I haven't picked that up or ordered it. I'm sure it's gonna be brilliant, but I only have so much money and Taco Bell is only 2 miles away. So just the reality of what I'm having to do.
Airport Bojangles doesn't.
If I lived out in the middle of nowhere with not a near Taco Bell, I'd be able to buy so many more records. But the reality is I'm close and it's a problem. So, see, weird. There you go.
Well, John, if you would have tuned in when you were supposed to, you already mentioned. I've mentioned that I'm going to have a good background here in a few days. I've got a bunch of pictures over here that are bubble wrapped and that are professionally framed. I'm just waiting to get the hooks. Which I have the hooks. I'm just needing to pick them up. So hopefully in the next week or so, I will have some pictures behind me. But in the end of the day, what does it matter to you, John? Mr. Florida.
Now, Sam, have you been watching any documentaries? We've been talking a little bit about it. It may or may not be a little bit of our topic tomorrow, but just curious of what, any, you watched the Beach Boys one. Yeah. Thoughts on that?
Watch the Beach Boys, watch the Bon Jovi doc, and just recently watched the Kiss doc from a couple years ago. That was originally on A&E, I think, but now it's on Paramount or one of those stations. But
was it based on them or was it based on their holograms?
It was them. But we just got half of Kiss, and then everything else was archival stuff from Peter and Ace. But no, I mean, Emma, I don't know that. See, the thing is, I don't know that it was.
I want you two to fight about this. So, duke it out, whatever you got to do. But yes, go ahead.
Just like Mike Love and Brian Wilson in court.
I think we know who wins that battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, East Coast. No, that was like Blink-182 does the Beach Boys.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Thank you. No, I like the Beach Boys doc. Again, if somebody who's never heard more than the Sounds of Summer or the Endless Harmony record, that would be a good documentary for them because you might not know that, Pet Sound started because Al Jardine brought Sloop John B, to Brian from the Kingston Trio.
I read the Sloop John B.
What kind of Bill Clinton version of Sloop John B was that? I did not sloop John B with that. No.
Okay, this I know that this was a pain point.
Extremely rushed and spotty. Sometimes that makes sense. Also, yeah. Oh, Ryan Teddy Graham was in it. But yeah, I didn't really understand that. I know some people were poo pooing on that, and I know that like you have to get somebody like new. But to be fair, One Republic, too late to apologize. That's so stupid.
It's so good.
That's a screenshot if I've ever seen one.
Dan's at it.
That's good. No. Yeah,
We're just gonna let that hang out there. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna leave that up there.
Yeah,
Okay,
I gotta
cool.
get a beer.
All right, see ya. No, I mean, yeah. To quote off of like the One Republic thing, I mean, it doesn't make sense that Ryan Tedder was the guy that showed up. I mean, Don makes sense because he produced the "I Just Wasn't Made for These Times" documentary, which was like Brian's return to touring, and Lindsey Buckingham sang with him a few times. And I think he was in that documentary as well. But obviously, like we at the very beginning, like literally like the first like 10 seconds, we have Brian Wilson now, and that's all we get. And most of the other interviews with like Carl and Dennis and Brian are all from the Endless Harmony documentary that came out back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So not a lot of, I mean, the new stuff. And like the thing is, like Mike Love, it's ridiculous because he always acts like him and Brian are so estranged. But I'm like, you just reach out and call him, my guy. He's like, if I could talk to Brian, like he gets like these tears that start welling up. He's like, I tell him I love him.
You know what we call those?
Crocodile
Tears. That's a crocodile tear for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is.
Hey, Richard, how's it going?
Richard, and like here's like Bruce Johnson. Bruce Johnson had a moment where he's like, I'm the head of the Brian Wilson fan club. He's like, but he's like, without the other guys singing, Brian's harmonies would never have happened. And it's like, he could have found 5 other guys. Brian Wilson, like, he just needed guys that could sing well. And there were a lot of people that could sing well that weren't just the Beach Boys.
So, yeah, did you get the sense that, okay, let's keep this going here. I want to hear, Emma, if you're over there and you want to jump on and give your critique and your experience, especially as we're talking about Mike Love, who I know plays a meaningful role in your life, I would love for you to come up on here and talk it out. That'd be great. But go ahead, Sam. You have the floor to talk about My Glove.
Well, smell my glove from Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
That's a good joke. That's a really good joke. Write that one down, folks. Also, look at this little bit of hair I got going on here. Let me fix that real quick.
Is Cole's Notes like the Canadian Cliff Notes?
Yeah, Canadians don't know about Cliff
or Spark.
Yeah, or okay. What is it called? Like for the For Dummies books.
Yeah.
No, I mean Mike Love, Jason. The thing was, Murray Wilson was the producer of the Beach Boys on their early records. He was Brian's father. Really a good. Well, I'll say he was a manager. He was a really good manager for them because he was like handing out stuff to people on the streets, like saying, like, "Come to my son's concert." He was getting people that were, never heard of the Beach Boys before they were famous, and all that stuff. And so, in the early years, especially like the surf years, the classic years of the Beach Boys, Mike and Brian were the collaborators. Brian wrote the music and the melodies. Mike wrote the words. And when Murray became too demanding, Brian fired Murray as the manager. And over time, like Murray ended up selling the Beach Boys catalog, and without going through them because he said they were a flash in the pan, they weren't going to have any kind of success, in 20 years. Obviously, that killed Brian. But as a result, the theory was that he never gave Mike songwriting credits. He only gave it to Brian. And so over time, Mike got offended by this. He ended up taking Brian to court a couple different times to gain songwriting credits, which in a way, I believe that happened because Brian was going through some mental things. He had really no control over much of this stuff. And Murray was just like, y'all are nothing, flash in the pan. I can produce 10 other groups just like you. But then, this happened a few times. Mike was, ridiculous. Mike was obviously kind of against the whole Brian Wilson following his muse of like Pet Sounds and Smile. He was like, let's stick to the formula about the cars, girls, beach, whatever. Yeah. And this is just always the case. Brian went into a spiral. Mike, there's all sorts of things like that. And then you fast forward to their 50th anniversary in 2012. The surviving guys go on tour, very successful tour. They're playing the big stadiums. Obviously, at that point, Mike had been touring with Bruce Johnston as the Beach Boys, and that's still the case. But the original guys toured behind a new record. And then all of a sudden, after the tour ends, when Brian's like, I've got more songs, we're going to record a follow-up record. Mike says, no, Bruce and I are going to continue on as the Beach Boys. You and Al Jardine and David Marks are back out of the group. And he had no rhyme or reason. There was arguing over the name of the Beach Boys, which I think Mike owns. However, Brian and Al are still considered members of the Beach Boys. They're just considered non-touring. That's how the legality of it all worked out. So there's a lot more I could go into, and nobody probably cares, Jason. I'll be happy to spin you some more yarns about Michael Edward Love. So,
and I will say too, I mean, granted, it's the dramatization of it. I know we've talked a lot about it, Sam, but for me, the whatever that got me, I think, to respect and appreciate the Beach Boys more than sort of like the Mike Love side of the Beach Boys. You know what I mean? Like for me, like for the longest time, I had always kind of put them in the same sort of family as like the Monkees, right? It was just this like stupid, happy, like surfs up, dude, and it's just like, oh God. And then, for me, like I saw Love and Mercy and it changed the game. And I think like, like it's weird to be like, well, here's this dramatization of a movie with, Elizabeth Banks, and
Johnny, Johnny put this in my cues sack.
It's a good one. And so, but like that to me, because like that, I think it doesn't like walk through, but I think it show. I think they do a really good job. Again, dramatization, sure, but like the dynamics of all the things Brian was going through, the relationship with his father, the history of abuse, all that type of stuff going on. How, like Pet Sounds was him because they were off touring in Japan, and he's like, I'm going to stay here and just do all this with a bunch of these sessions, with the Wrecking Crew, basically, right? So, it's just that, and then after that, I was like, oh, I gotta look more into this. But so much of me though of what I like is like I couldn't really care less about like pre-65 Bowie.
Because you just recently got into Today, right?
Yeah, I mean, got into it. Yeah, like picked it up. I was like, this is great. Yeah, but surfing, so all that kind of stuff. It's I love Surf's Up, but I think Surf's Up's different. That's not exactly indicative of the title of the album, right?
That was like 1970. Yeah.
So I love that type of stuff. All right, we got a whole bunch of Mike Love hate and love going on. Bunch of different stuff going on here.
I will say, I'll get back to the comments, but I did read Mike Love's autobiography that came out a few years ago called Good Vibrations. And there in a little way, I do have to respect. I mean, obviously, without Mike Love, you wouldn't have had that Beach Boys sound with the hits. I mean, he was that California vocal, that sound that everybody emulated. But you do have to think he was dealing with like his cousin Brian, who was on this pedestal, was also very childish in a lot of ways with his, mental disorders, his, things that he had undiagnosed. He was going through drug abuse, obviously trauma from his father. And Mike kind of had to like step in as like the older cousin and be like, all right, we have to move forward with some of this stuff. But again, at the same time, the way that he's gone about it in recent years and just essentially said, without me and Brian, Brian isn't necessarily a genius. So that's where it's like he's like, yeah, I need some of this.
Yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of people there, though, right? Like, so, like, did you get the sense that it was almost like a? Well, hold on. Let's get to some comments here.
Frankie's out.
And go from there. I don't know. I gotta believe they still make Cliff Notes.
I think they do.
That's how I got through high school, so for sure. I didn't read shit. So, the silly uncle, yeah, I can see it with his hat. Talked about this. Nice little compliment for you, Sam.
Oh, thank you. That's not true. I mean, we always watch other people's videos and we're like, oh, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But
what are you guys into? Well,
clam strips. Yeah.
Clam stripping, PBR, long walks on the beach. No, Sam and I will do a live stream every once in a while. First of all, thanks for stopping by, Jack. That's awesome. Appreciate you. I'll be sure to look you up here after the stream's done too. I'd say we definitely go in different directions musically at times, but I think, we definitely have our sort of heart in old school classic rock probably, and then sort of branches off from there. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
definitely into some different areas, but we're talking a lot of Beach Boys, which is definitely more Sam's expertise area than mine for sure. Yeah, Sam giving us them history lessons. We appreciate it. We got Jason just making a bunch of dumb jokes again, like unreal knowledge. Yeah, thanks. All the good things. Mike Love is like a microwave. Okay.
Same.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yes. No, not at all. We just haven't done this in a long while, and I think Sam was feeling in the mood, like the Rush song.
Or Glenn Miller, but
so yeah, we do not plan on doing this every Tuesday. We're still normals. Well, I would say semi-normal at this point, just because lives have happened. But it's on the Wednesday night stream on Rob's channel over at Northern Revolutions. We'll be back at it tomorrow at 8 p.m. on that channel, and
talking more Beach Boys, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Can't wait for you talk more about the fucking Beach Boys. No, I'm just kidding. That's a good time. But no, I started thinking, right, like just you're talking about this because maybe this will come up, and I'm kind of curious on what like Rob's perspective of it is, right? But also, this is like next level analysis here, right? It's like thinking about some of these documentaries and who they're made for, right? Like, I think a lot of these documentaries, like whether it's the Beatles or the Beach Boys, like how much new information is out there?
Yeah.
Like it's all been written about, it's all been done a million times. And so it's like when you're making these documentaries, are you making them for the general music fan who just wants to learn more about the Beach Boys? Because my guess is like for the general music fan, they probably have really great things to say about the documentary.
Yeah.
My guess though is for like the Beach Boys diehards, especially like the Brian Wilson fans, they're probably left underwhelmed at best. And I correlate that to Once We're Brothers about the band. Because the first time I saw that was prior to being like a fan, really. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh cool, the band, you're great. But like when I watched that, I was just more of like a casual fan, and I loved it. I was like, this is so great. This is so great.
Yeah.
And then however many years of learning more and reading more and listening more and understanding more, I went back and watched that again several weeks ago and had a completely different sort of take on it. And not necessarily on like the facts or how it was done. Like it was still brilliantly done. It's still very informative and all those different things. But certainly this idea of like, this was basically just like Robbie Robertson's autobiography, right? Like, and everything is told through him. And if you're more of like the casual fan, you look at that and you say, oh, well, yeah, that just means that Robbie Robertson was everything, right? He was the band.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely a different viewing experience now versus.
Because they even said that was based on his on his autobiography testimony. Like, and that it ends with The Last Waltz, which is just like his book. And he was supposedly working on part 2 of that, like to talk about like his collaborations with Martin Scorsese, but obviously passed away. And that's the thing with the Beach Boys thing too, is like, just like any other Beach Boys documentary, you get like a ton of stuff about the surfing and Pet Sounds. And then
Yeah.
That's about it. But like, there's never been like a truly comprehensive like. And some people were saying like we need like a Beach Boys anthology kind of thing, like the Beatles did, where we get to hear about the struggles that they had in the 70s and 80s, and Dennis dying and how that affected the group, and then Carl dying in the 90s, and then even going up to now, because Carl's been dead for almost 30 years, 27 years now. And so it's like they've lived another 27 years in some form. Like, we need to talk about, like Mike and Bruce breaking off, and then like their 50th anniversary tour. None of that was mentioned. And even like it ends even with like a clip of them like in the early 80s with all of them still alive, like playing in DC.
Yeah.
So it's, and then you get like the new stuff with Al and Mike and Bruce and David. So I don't know. And then like they briefly talked to Blondie Chaplin, who was a member in the 70s during the Holland record.
Yep.
So I don't know. There's a lot of documentaries like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it should be a good conversation, I think, tomorrow. I'm curious what people say, right? Because like, the other thing is like, well, I don't want to talk too much about it because there's already too many fucking people on YouTube to talk about the Beatles. I should have called this a Beatles stream, and then we'd have like 1,000 viewers. But it's like all the Get Back shit, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like the opposite, where like your casual music fan is like, I can't do this. Actually, a lot of people are like, I can't do. You know what I mean? Like, how much of this and them bopping around and making dumb jokes, for like 16 hours, and then you get through it and they're like, yeah, but there's like 42 more hours of it. And you're like,
yeah,
sweet. But like that, I mean, I don't classify that as a documentary, right? As much as obviously all these other ones, but
because there's no talking heads in it. It's just it's footage.
It's footage, right? Exactly. Yeah, Paul Di'Anno was awesome. He was great, and as a young
Love
Brian.
and Mercy. And I was kind of like with you, like that was 2016, which was the 50th anniversary of Pet Sounds. And like that's when I got it really into saying like, I like Brian Wilson more than the Beach Boys. Like, as a fan, which is how I am with like Mike Nesmith and the Monkees. Love the Monkees, just like I love the Beach Boys, but I'll take Nesmith over the Monkees.
So for sure. We're getting so mad at you. I mean, that's the reality, I guess, right? Is that so many people who are into this hobby and collect the things, right? Like they want to show their Stones records or Grateful Dead or whoever else sort of thing. But I will say, what's interesting, and I'll show some more of this stuff here, is that to me, like the whole coal mine thing really did sort of, I got into them because I just thought it was a really cool local story more than anything, right? I was like, oh, cool, it's a label from down the road. Yeah. There's an Ohio connection. That's a cool thing to get behind. I wasn't really a fan of soul music, especially more like retro soul or anything like that. I will say before I forget, both to Jason and for our commenter here, is that next Monday I'll be seeing Duran Jones. So it'll be Duran Jones solo, not with the indications, but so that should be fun. But what getting into the coal mine stuff did was get me into soul and kind of be able to like go back a little bit. And what's cool is like so many of the things that I picked up today are like, again, like I don't know what this is. Soul Jazz Records. Okay. Seminal rare groove funk and deep soul album originally released in 1973 on GRC Records. I have no idea what this is, but and a year ago I wouldn't have looked at this at all, right? And so it's like going back. I showed this one, the Written in Their Soul Stacks demos from Kraft. Yeah. Awesome. Just showed this, that Funky Chicken. Come on, what else? I saw a bunch of people. So El Nino y El Sol. This was Adrian Quesada from Black Pumas. And then Martin Perna from Antibalas. I don't know. Maybe you can help me out on this one. But again, huge. I mean, Adrian Quesada, Black Pumas. That's a coal mine connection there. Chuck Armstrong, Shacking Up, old school funk. I mean, it's like all that stuff I would not have cared at all about. And now it's like just a different thing. So I think we're getting there. So yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, they were good. They were good.
Thank you, Chris Farley. Yeah.
Yeah, we love the coal mine stuff. They do great stuff. Best guitarist in Ohio. Or from Ohio, I guess.
What about your boy Red Auerbach?
Red. That's a good joke. Yeah, no. I mean, Joe Walsh is obviously a great answer there. I'm trying to think. You know, it's tough too because you get like some people who were like born in Ohio and then moved to LA after 3 weeks and then don't really consider Ohio any part of their identity. But
yeah,
it's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, but Joe Walsh is still, I mean, James Gang, all that kind of stuff, still claim Ohio. So
Jimmy G, yeah,
we will take it.
Non-divider.
I do actually, yeah. So they're not. So my coal mine section is, yeah, it's a different bin entirely. So it's not even in the bins. It's a different bin. So
the bins.
There's that. But you're you got what now? Two Karma Chief titles over there, yeah. So
two on vinyl. Yeah, I think that's it.
Did you find any time to spin that, Andy?
No, actually, I recorded that before I started making my supper, and then we talked about streaming. But they're leaning over here against my leaning near my turntable. That and then my Avett record, which I am very excited to spin on vinyl to hear it.
Yeah.
I'd love for the Avetts to come near here. They haven't announced any Virginia dates at all. It's just not like them, but maybe I'll travel. I mean, that's what actually a year ago, yesterday and the day before, I was in DC seeing them. So it's been a year since I've seen them. So I'm kind of got that itch that I want to scratch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the reasons to come up to Ohio, by the way.
I know it's always funny because like now when people announce acts, like I always look for me first, obviously, and then I'll always look at Ohio. Like Ohio is my number 2.
Yeah.
For Columbus, I mean, because obviously, our boy Pokey was up there. You know, Avetts are coming. The Black Keys with Head and the Heart were coming. I'm bummed that it seems like it's kind of been a light concert year around my area, and nobody that I'm really wanting to travel 3 hours to go see. Although the Lemon Twigs are coming to Richmond, I think in December, and obviously I just saw them a few weeks ago. So like I'm considering kind of doing a twofer in 1 year.
Yeah, Richmond's what, like 3 hours from you?
Yeah, it's about 3.
But I know you're up to Charlottesville a lot. Is that on the way at all, or? Yeah.
So for me, like the most direct way is to take Interstate 81. You take it to Charlottesville. Well, you take it to Interstate 64, which goes through Charlottesville, and 64 can take you all the way to the coast, which goes right through Richmond. So, it's like anytime that I've ever been to Richmond in the last 5 years, I've gone through Charlottesville.
So that helps because it's 3 hours from you, but then it's an hour and a half or so from Charlottesville, or what?
Yeah, just a little bit less. That's about hour 40 for me to get to Charlottesville, and then
so you keep playing your cards right, and it might be less of an annoyance than you might think. So,
indeed, yeah.
Well, and I've said this. I'm no professional, or I don't know really much about anything in this cruel world, but I mean, my argument about this has been that artists couldn't tour for 2 years. And so they couldn't make money because people were realizing that you can't make money on just making music anymore. You have to tour. And nobody could tour for 2 years. And so everybody was trying to tour. And so since everybody was touring, everybody had to pick what 6 shows they wanted to go to. Yeah. And so instead of picking, maybe I go to 3 shows a year. All my favorite bands are touring, so I'm going to go to 6 shows a year. But now all my favorite bands are touring every single year because they're still trying to make up for lost time, which means we can't afford it. And I mean, like people have been talking about like the ticket price thing, but it's like, I mean, the whole thing's absurd. And let's get political. Like, who knows, right? Like now,
should bands keep charging for concerts?
Yeah. Joe Biden doesn't want Ticketmaster and Live Nation to thrive. It's like, so who knows what that's going to come of that, right? But I mean, it's like, it's kind of a joke. But I've said this before on some streams. Like here at the local, we have 2 local big arenas that are like 20,000 seaters, right? The big, hockey, basketball arenas, whatever. And I think the last 2 or 3 I've been to, the artist didn't sell enough tickets. And so anybody who had a ticket in the upper bowl got moved to the lower bowl, and they completely like blocked off the upper bowl. In fact, I remember seeing everybody's favorite activist, Roger Waters. I know you love him, Sam. And he, during the show, he had made the comment of like, because like all the upper bowl was completely like covered up.
Yeah.
But he had like, made the comment of like looking up, and he's like, as you can tell with the empty seats upstairs that we did not sell out. But what that means is that, we will never sell out, And so it was like, but that was like the reality is it's like these 20,000 seaters. And I think that was like the Black Keys thing, right? Like, and look, people like to, talk shit or whatever about music or artists for reasons that are unknown to us, right? Like, oh, ha, 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 like the Black Keys couldn't sell out, these 20,000 seat arenas. And you're like, okay, I thought it was a good call. We were talking about this. Like, I do think, and I love the Head and Heart too. I think that's an interesting pairing because I don't know how much I don't think the crossover is enough where people would say, I'm a Black Keys fan and I'm also a Head and Heart fan, so I'm definitely going to go. The crossover is not enough there.
It'd be one thing if it was like a Marcus King.
Sure. Or Royal Blood or, something like that, right? Like where you had, like I like the Black Keys and then this similar type musical artist.
Yeah.
But I thought Head and Heart was just an interesting thing but then, Head and Heart fans aren't going to pay
to go to Black Keys
$100 and some dollars to go see them play a 50-minute set in a 20,000 seat venue.
Yeah, I had the Heart show. You can get a pretty good ticket for $50.
$50 in a theater of 2,500.
Yeah, it's open seating.
Yep. So, I mean, again, I'm not a professional. Those are just some of the things that go through my mind as a consumer. But I mean, it's interesting, and also, I mean, I think. However they're trying to spin it, if it's a spin, whatever it is. The other thing too is like, Dan Auerbach is not sitting in his office and planning a fucking tour, like that's not what they do. And so, these are decisions that are made by a lot of different other people that are not the bands.
Right.
And they don't pick the venues. They don't pick the ticket prices. They don't pick the tour dates. They don't pick it's like they don't pick any of those things. They say, here's a calendar, figure it out.
Yeah.
And then, so.
Which that's what happened with Jeff Lynne, like in 2001 or so with the Zoom record, when he kind of revived ELO for the first time. And that tour kind of ended before it even started because Jeff Lynne was past his commercial peak. I mean, he had done stuff in the early 90s, but then people didn't want to hear ELO music in 2001. They wanted to hear boy bands and like that kind of stuff. That's what was big. And like the classic rock circuit hadn't kicked in like it has now. Like there weren't these, nostalgia acts. Like people weren't like buzzing to see, the Rolling Stones. Like the Rolling Stones are kind of at a slump, or, the Who, whatever it might be. But now that's a completely different ballgame. That's why Jeff Lynne is able to go out on tour now and fill up, football stadiums, NFL stadiums. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, similarly, yeah. I mean, I saw, Sam and I both saw Lemon Twigs in places that probably fit what, Sam, maybe 200 people, if that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where they played out here is basically, it was a dive bar. I mean, it was low ceilings and it was dive. But it's the same place to this comment that Kendra Morris is playing. Kendra is a coal miner, Karma Chief artist. And so she'll be here in July, and I'll be going to see her. But yeah, I mean, similar. It's like that show experience for $20 and a dive bar. I mean, every time.
No fees. Yeah.
Yeah, very little fees. The drinks are probably going to be, better priced if that's where you're into, like all that
Yeah.
type of stuff. So,
Well, that's the thing. Like again, we're talking about Ticketmaster, Live Nation, whoever you want to throw under the bus. That's kind of like you as a consumer, your way to show them, is to be like, no, I'm going to these local joints and seeing the Lemon Twigs and seeing, some local band open for them, or, going to like the local theater, 700 person venue, 2,000 person venue. That's where you're spending your money. It's not Ticketmaster; it's directly through the venue. And a lot of times you get the same kind of acts, like like I've seen like all the times that I've ever seen Bob Dylan, I've been in a theater.
yeah,
And he is at the same, fame level as, a McCartney or the Stones, who I know the Stones and Springsteen are huge in the whole, Ticketmaster hidden fee kind of thing.
yeah,
But my thing is that, these older acts, if you can get in and see them, great. If you can afford it, great. But don't forget about those smaller venues to see the same kind of quality
oh yeah,
type of acts that are up and coming, or that just don't want to play anywhere else. I mean, some of those people that tour nonstop, again, like the Head and the Heart, they go, for almost 4 years without a record, and they tour every year. Summer tour, there it is. We don't care.
yeah.
So,
All right, let's play tour manager really quick, or whatever, promoter manager, whatever. Because I've been thinking about this after, like, we've seen a lot of people now talking about the Lemon Twigs, but also, as I've been saying, like they're a nerds band. They're a band's band. They're a
analog production band.
They're a vinyl community band. I mean,
yeah, that's awesome.
I've seen more people talk about "A Dream Is All We Know." More people on the YouTube, like, Vinyl Sphere community, talk about that record than any other record that's come out this year.
It's going to be a lot of top 10 lists here in December.
And yet, here they are, playing in
dive bars,
200 people dive bars and cafes, and that's it. And I think we talked about this, but it was so funny too. Like, demographic, it was a lot of teeny boppers, man. I mean, half these people were underage, like had the X's on their hands. And so if you're a promotion company or a tour person, whatever, play the game here. What do you do with the Lemon Twigs? I mean, they were on the bill with the Killers. I don't know that I'm sure it was a great experience for them, but, like, I don't know. Who do you put the Lemon Twigs with to get them what they deserve?
In terms of like a production style,
exposure, or like a tour. Like, if you were going to put a tour together and pair the Lemon Twigs up with somebody, so they're playing in more than 200, person dive bars, whether they're opening for somebody bigger, like, do you throw them in front of ELO, Jeff Lynne? Like, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, is there a more modern day, do you throw them in front of Cheap Trick on, like, a smaller theater show? It's like, I'm just trying to think about these things of, like, what is going to help them?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so for example, the Stones, are going through the summer with their Hackney Diamonds tour, and they have a lot of these up and coming bands, probably purposefully. And there's a band in particular, they're called Lawrence. I don't know if you've heard them. They're like a new, like, soul band. It's a brother and sister. The brother sounds like Huey Lewis. Like, he could be a Huey Lewis tribute singer if he, wasn't making it with Lawrence. But they're like, mid-20s, young, brother sister group. They opened for the Stones last night, and they sound like Huey Lewis in the News. And then, like, the Stones are also getting people like Tyler Childers, who I love. That kind of goes with Jack there. Tyler Childers is like a modern, like, outlaw country.
I get Lainey Wilson.
Yeah. She, yeah. So, yeah. So with that, I don't know, because, like, back in the, like, even, like, if you cut back like 10 years ago, like when the Monkees were still touring, like, obviously, like, the Lemon Twigs could open for them. I mean, you could throw the Lemon Twigs like on this Rolling Stones tour, because like they're getting, Gary Clark Jr. is doing a few, so they're getting the blues influence, they're getting the soul with Lawrence, they're getting country because the Stones have a country influence, obviously Graham Parsons, and they were
Yeah.
listening to Hank Williams and Waylon Jennings and all those guys. Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody right now that they could pair with. Like, I mean, like even like if you got like the big like, you can't put them like in front of like a Taylor Swift concert or
Yeah.
I don't even know like you know a Billie Eilish concert.
Yeah, I mean, maybe throwing them with like a bleachers or something.
Yeah, but even then, bleachers are playing these 3,000, 2,000 people.
Yeah.
My sister's seeing bleachers here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, they're here next week.
Yeah, she actually, to throw my sister, some love. She was able to get. She's on the guest list.
Wow.
She got free tickets from Jack Antonoff.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, she has some pull in his little fan community.
Good, because people are calling for him and Taylor to stop making music together. So,
but yeah, I mean, it's a good thing because are they power? I wouldn't say that they're even power pop. They're more melodic pop, like more like Baroque pop. With these new couple records, with these new records.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't call Beach Boys power pop, but I think I mean that's the thing. I mean, to me they sound like 67, 60. Yeah, they sound like 67 to 70 Beach Boys to me.
Yeah.
But well, I'll tell you, I would say Sam definitely leans more country, but also depending on your interpretation of country music, right? I mean, Sam's definitely a little more, not to put words in his mouth, but probably a little bit more singer-songwriter country, maybe a little bit more outlaw country, a little bit more classic country, not necessarily. Yeah. I can't imagine Sam being a big Morgan Wallen fan.
No, I did pass his tour. His tour bus was coming through town the other. Well, no, it was the actual
torch it.
No, I didn't throw a chair off the roof of it. No, yeah. No, it was actually his 18-wheeler full of his crap.
Yeah,
that was rolling into town. They were going somewhere else.
Full of all of his beer.
No, I don't get into like the bro country. I don't do contemporary hits, Jack.
Yeah. Hey, Elliot.
EC.
What's happening, man? Good to see you. Elliot, if you want to come up here and shoot the shit, let me know, man. It'd be good to talk to you. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Oh, God. Speaking of trash.
And your shorts. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was interesting. I love the War on Drugs. I mean, they're like a top 7-10 band for me.
Ooh.
But yeah, they look, you're just like every other person in my life, Elliot, besides Sam. So no. But I think you're right. Like that's the type of thing that's like the crossover is there. It's like this sounds cheesy, but I've heard so many people use it before. It's like the 1 + 1 = 3 sort of thing, right? It's like if you would probably go see one of those big, like the National's going to play that type of place anyway, but you throw on another huge name there, boom.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, and this is kind of like where it becomes tricky with like the whole, I mean, to do the pairing thing. When you take the throwback bands that are really doing good work, I mean, we've talked about, this before, and people love to crap all over these guys, but Greta Van Fleet, who people say, like, oh, that kid is just, taking over. What's the last name? Koepka, like Josh Koepka, from Greta Van Fleet, him and his twin brother and their other brother. They're a group that fills these stadiums now that are fit. Like you can go to a Greta Van Fleet show at these, college football stadiums, and they're gonna, sell it out. But their core, it's a 4-piece. Well, it's a power trio and then a singer playing this like 70s kind of like arena rock with some modern elements, but it's got like the psyche kind of mythological lyrics to it, like Robert Plant. And the Twigs are doing the same, not the same thing, but like they're obviously pulling from their elders, but they're not. I mean, I've said for a while, I'm like, the Lemon Twigs they're gonna break out. Next 2 records, they're gonna be like Greta Van Fleet, but they don't have the same charisma. Like Greta Van Fleet has like the stage, like the glam look and all that stuff. The Lemon Twigs are just a retro throwback group.
Right.
And there are hundreds of those people around there. I mean, like, our buddy Matthew Street, again, he promotes Gem Records. Gem Records is full of people that are trying to sound like the 60s and 70s power pop groups.
Yeah.
And none of those groups, unfortunately, are going to, get rich.
Sure. Yeah.
So I don't know like how Greta Van Fleet did it. They're very talented. I like them. I don't crap on them at all. And my thing is, like, we like to downgrade new music in the vinyl community as a whole. But then with these young guys in their 20s or girls come up, it's like, oh, they sound like so and so. That's ridiculous. Then like at the end of the day, like what makes you happy?
You can't have it both ways. You're right. I mean, that is I'm glad we're on the same page today. We've talked about this before, right? Like that has always been the thing, is that the same people who will say there's no good music out in 2020, rock and roll is dead, there's no good music, are the same people who are like, oh, that Greta Van Fleet, they're just a Led Zeppelin, cover band, sort of thing. And so it's like, that's no, and B, yeah, you're right. It's like what has been, and the other thing too with them is that how much of their the hate that they receive from a lot of those people is due because of how much they've blown up, right? Like if they were just playing the small clubs, people wouldn't be bitching and moaning about them. No. But it's not because they're selling out arenas that people are like, oh, I can't believe them, they're rip off, and it's like, oh my god, not really. I was gonna interrupt, Elliot. That's really cool that you're going to see Lil Feat. I saw on your channel recently that you're doing a review of their new record, which was awesome. I actually, Lil Feat connection with the record I picked up today. I saw a lot of people posting about this during, I guess, last record store day, or this might have been Black Friday. Yeah, this was Black Friday, and that is this record, Chico Hamilton, The Master. But this is exclusive 50th anniversary color vinyl with the backing band from Lowell George and Little Feat. So cool stuff. I don't know if any people out there, this 8 people out there, but my guess is a lot of the Little Feat fans probably picked this up to do that. But that's cool that they're still making music. So
they opened for they're opening for the Avett Brothers this summer at Red Rocks, one of the 3 nights that they're there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think Lucinda Williams is opening one too.
Yeah. No, I agree, right? Like I think that's a lot. And so Sam and I were talking about this recently, and my thought is, and I'm curious for the older people watching, which is probably most of y'all, we see the demographics of our channel.
Yeah, those analytics.
It's like I was like, apparently like men 58 to 72 really like me. Okay. So there you go, Sam.
Oh, for Little Feat, oh man, Elliot, that's gonna be a killer show.
Well, that's probably up there, not too far. In what, Central Carolina, North Carolina?
Oliver Wood, Elliot. If you don't know, like the lead singer, he had a solo album that came out a couple of years ago. He has a new one coming out this summer. He's released 2 singles, so check that out.
Of course, you never late, always right on time. Always
better late than never, as they say.
That's right. They do say that. But so my thing, I'm curious again for some of the older folks, right? Of like how much of it is that, and when I say older folks, I don't mean that in like a derogatory way. I just mean like people who grew up with that type of music, right? Is that, do we feel that there's genuinely no good music today, or is it that it's just significantly more difficult to get into today's music because you are no longer at that impressionable age or an adolescent hearing Led Zeppelin the first time, right? Like, is it, you know what I mean? Like, is it just tough to get into new music when you're not growing up or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, is it more tied to those experiences where you're at in life, or is it actually due to the music itself? Yeah. Okay. Hey, Mark, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope all is well out there in the well, I guess you're more, I guess, Midwest proper. People will call like Ohio Midwest, but you're really more the Midwest. So I'll give you that. In that way. Looks like some people coming over from a Rachel stream. That's when we're pulling the big guns there, Sam, believe it or not.
Wow.
But see, Richard, but you're the enigma, man. You are the enigma because that's just there are so many people of like. I always use the example. There are so many like prog nerds that I knew, right? That grew up with Yes and Genesis and Gentle Giant, all this type of stuff, and they don't listen to a single note of progressive music post 1980. And there's just this thing where it just isn't the same. It just isn't the same, sort of thing. But meanwhile, but it's interesting because you can always go back, but it's harder for people to go forward, right? Like if I did not grow up with Yes, I'm always able to go back and listen to Yes. But the people who grew up with Yes, it's much harder for them to listen to modern progressive rock music in 2024. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it does in my head. Well, see, but that's a great answer, but I feel like that's the educator, right? This is Elliot the educator coming out here. Like we should be more curious and explore more and all this kind of stuff.
Because Elliot's a prime, because Elliot will always talk about. I mean, Elliot is my fellow brother in the Americana genre, but he loves some. He loves Molly Tuttle and Margot Price, and I think he's talked about the Avett Brothers. So like Elliot is in touch with Sierra Farrell, like the Americana Festival kind of folks, Billy Strings. And Elliot, again, no slant on you or anything, but obviously you are older than Alex and I. But that to me is very neat. Yeah, Jason Isbell, you're a huge Isbell fan. And I think Elliot has even said like Isbell is like up there for people that are like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said like Isbell is like the top tier songwriter in today's world. Like in terms of like the same kind of quality songwriting as those outlaw country guys, Tom Petty. Because a lot of people call Isbell's band like kind of like a modern Heartbreakers because they can play anything. They don't sound like the Heartbreakers, but they can play anything, and they're a tight knit unit. And so again, obviously there's proof that people are out there that are in their 60s, 70s, that are listening to new tunes and keeping up to date with it. And again, like that should be the thing. Like, like if you are of that age where you're retired, there's more time to discover more and more. Yeah. Alex and I should be more salty because we're, we don't have time to do anything.
No, well, I'm very salty all the time. Yes, Mark, I figured you're going to come here and hear some Beatles bashing. We were thinking about just calling this a Beatles stream so that more people would watch, but unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards. Hey, Devin, welcome.
D-Dog, as we call him.
Do you?
I don't know.
Yep. I was like, yeah, I feel like Sam be talking about these people a lot. Yeah.
My brethren. That's what it was. Yeah, that's big because I mean, he was in the Drive-By Truckers in the early 2000s, but we're still talking about somebody that's been around less than 30 years. So,
Hey, welcome. Glad you're here.
A lot of new people. Hey, new people, subscribe to us or me because you're on Alex's channel.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need attention.
Yeah.
But
and I want to just make sure, it's for the people out there, that I think there's just so much happening down here. Yeah. Thank you. We're having a good time. I don't want to make it seem like, me and Sam are sitting here talking about how bitter old people are.
I am an old person.
I just think that there is this element of, like what I grew up with was better. You know what I mean? Like that band's great, but they're nothing like this, right? Like we've heard people talk about the Lemon Twigs that way, right? Like these people who love the Beach Boys, who love, Todd Rundgren, who love all this stuff are just like, yeah, it's good. It just doesn't do anything for me, which is interesting because to me, that is more of like an emotional response, not as much of like a logical one, if that makes sense, right? Like when you say like, oh, they just don't do it for me. Like that tells me that it just doesn't emotionally impact you. And if we're talking about like emotional impact, a lot of times, it's different. So,
well, I would say we're probably like in like that first generation of people where we might even like be as a whole debate, like, was our music growing up the best? Because like we're obviously not, mega fans of stuff from like the 90s and early 2000s. Like we can probably agree, like that's not the best era of music, and we grew up in that time. Whereas a lot of people in these chats, or our parents or whoever, they will say like, oh, the 70s, the 80s were the best time for music. But those of us here in mid 20s up to maybe even up to 40, we're kind of like we don't necessarily think that that's the best music, because even like the artists that we love are sampling, like if you want to use like the sampling context, old music. I mean, Beyonce's latest record is full of samples from stuff from like the 60s. So I don't know, I'm probably going off on a spiel.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this chat right now. Some fun things. Senior citizens can be very bitter. It's something I have to watch out for. Yeah, but I mean, I also get it, right? Like, I would probably feel a certain type of way too if I felt that like two people who were half my age were like telling me about the type of, because ultimately it's like you like what you like and you don't like what you don't like, right? Like these are not things that you can just like choose to like something, It's like,
I know what boys like,
Let's see. Mark, the thing is for me, so much new stuff sounds like recreations of stuff I heard when I was younger, and I like the original better. No, I totally feel that way, right? Like, is it still new? Are the Lemon Twigs new? Do they sound? It's like I keep using them because we both obviously love them.
Yeah.
But I also think I'll just say it. Like, I think that I would like your take on this. It has been more difficult to get some of the older generation to appreciate the Twigs like we do. A lot of them will say like, it's good. I'll even say it's great. It just doesn't do anything for me. And is a lot of that because it's not really groundbreaking. It's not new. It's stuff that people grew up with, 50 some years ago, right?
Yeah. That's a good point. And there have been conversations with various friends, and even friends, younger friends, that have said, it's kind of like like in the movie industry that people are like, oh, this movie's been remade before. Like, I mean, there's a new Planet of the Apes movie out now, and it's like that's not an original concept.
Yeah,
like it's been done. And like some of these movies that have 4 or 5 sequels, and then like Batman movies, like you have like a trilogy. 5 years later, you have like another trilogy, and then you have another Batman movie. Like that's what's gonna happen with music, and that's the thing about like like you get into like lawsuits with music and this and that. Like oh, that chord structure sounds like like that Ed Sheeran sounds like whatever Tom Petty song, whatever it might be. I don't know. But like at the end of the day, music is not really original. There's only a certain number of notes. There's only a certain number of variations, and eventually it's going to repeat. The longer that human beings are on this earth.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of what we were just saying, Mark. And I can't, the thing is, like, I can't, argue with you on that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. All right. I just appreciate that I don't know what you would call it. I'm not gonna call it trolling because it's not like people are being like disrespectful or anything, but I feel like I've like that so many of these things that are happening have made it to my stream. It's like all the things that I'm like, wow, like look at that. But thank you, Mark. We appreciate that for sure.
Maybe we were.
Yeah. Example, a lot of shoegaze folk only listen to My Bloody Valentine, Slow Dive, right? There's a ton of different shoegaze genres, bands that are just interesting, if not more. So yeah, I mean, talk about a genre that it's like those people that you mentioned. Who are the ones that are opening for Slow Dive? Is that Drab Majesty? Is that their name? Richard, you might know. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know in terms of like the whole yeah, I mean, like it comes down to the fact, like with the next 50 years of music, what do we want? Because obviously, top 40 is never going to satisfy really most of us that are making videos in the vinyl community. That's probably the reason why we make videos. So I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but
There's a lot.
such is life when you are on YouTube with people who do these
You don't
things.
know. Yeah. But no, like again, do we want what is groundbreaking anymore? Like, I don't even know what's considered groundbreaking. Like even like the top artists, like what will they do something that's groundbreaking? Like, oh, so and so released an album with like 80 songs on it. Like, okay, that's not groundbreaking. Or so and so has released like again, like to use Taylor Swift as the example, like she released the record and then like another digital record online of new songs. So yeah, looks like we have some people that we can block if possible. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's what the future of music will be for any kind of Anyway, I'm getting distracted. These people need to go.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not gonna.
No.
They can go ahead and do whatever they want in the chat the whole time. So it's weird that this is the platform that they would wish to do it on, but I remember being 12 once too, so I get it. It's fine.
That's back when I was listening to the new music of the Beatles.
Yeah,
12 years old. No, you said you have a show next week. Is that the only one that you have on the docket?
Let's say Monday, and then I think Wednesday. Yes. At this point, so Monday. Did you ever get into the Orville Peck craze?
I know Glenn kind of got hooked on it last year. And I think Larry did too, but no, I never really listened. I know he has a song fairly recent with Willie Nelson that he did.
Yeah, I think his most recent record is all like duets and stuff like that.
Are they covers? Because I think the song he released was a cover.
Yeah, I think so. Like it's like, but like, yeah, I think the idea is that they're covers and then just like vocal performances of them.
Okay. Did you listen to him?
No, so I'm not really a huge fan. I'm not against it. A close friend of mine is a huge fan. So he was like, we gotta go. And I'm like, fuck, I'll go to whatever, like I'll always go to a show. But interesting, we were supposed to go maybe like a year and a half ago, maybe. Orville was playing here, and then he canceled his whole tour, citing some like mental health stuff. And so it sounds like that is subsided, hopefully. And so he'll be here on Monday, and then Wednesday, I think I'm also going to a show at the same venue for Khruangbin, which is kind of neo psychedelic soul type stuff. So yeah, those should be good. And then whatever else sort of happens. So yeah,
it's fun. I think right now I only have 2 shows lined up for this year. There are a few that I want to see, but again, like traveling this year is weird. My car is getting quite old. I had to put a battery in it last week, which was real nice.
Yeah.
And so like right now, like I'm at like 207,000 miles. So if anybody wants to VCLT me a vehicle, tax free, I will take it.
Yeah.
So that plays a part as well as like my traveling for shows.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I'll tell you what. Then it's 9:30. Yeah, here almost 2 hours. We're gonna pack it in, as they say.
No.
And get after it. So yeah, well, thanks for the people for watching and engaging in whatever way that you so choose. And yeah, Sam, any final words for anybody out there? You want to do like your little spiel about be good out there or whatever else you say?
No, because I don't really care about that. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean we'll be on tomorrow night on Rob's channel for.
Oh yeah.
You good people out there in the peanut gallery. So we shall be on at 8 tomorrow evening Eastern time on Northern Revolutions, talking about I guess we could say, I will say it, documentaries. We're going to be talking about how we feel about music docs, and I think maybe talking about like biopics all in there at the same time. Just, what we like to see, what we don't, casual fan, type of things versus, diehard stuff. So it'll probably be fairly open discussion.
Yeah.
So
should be cool. Cool, man. Well, hey, thanks for joining, man. Have a cool night, and I'm sure I'll catch you on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, as they say, peace.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.